Good evening and welcome to Breaking Views on NDTV. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Ankit Tyagi. That pitch that we played right at the beginning of the twists and turns, sometimes the entire country watching with horror, shock, the way our champion wrestlers are forced to be on the streets, the way they have been dragged. It tells you what is our top focus this evening on Breaking Views. Champions are wrestling for justice. Has this entire protest been mishandled? Could it have been handled better? Could there have been government's intervention much earlier? That's what our top focus is going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday evening, the entire country watched three of India's one of most successful wrestlers at the banks of River Ganga in Haridwar, surrounded by hundreds of people, in tears, just about to immerse their Olympics, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, World Championship medals in the medals for which they have worked extremely hard, against all odds, sweated, bled to win for their country. For the last 39 days, champion wrestlers have been protesting for justice after 7 wrestlers, including a minor, leveled serious sexual harassment charges against former Wrestling Federation Chief, BJP MP Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. They have been on a dharna, they have been dragged, pushed, detained, charges slapped against them, but no action so far against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. The protesting wrestlers have been let down and are desperate, it seems, at this moment. Today, Khaps entered the ring in support of the wrestlers who post-Tuesday have completely gone silent. Farmer and Khap leaders who stopped the wrestlers from immersing their medals in River Ganga held a big strategy meeting in Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh today, with the critiques of these wrestlers saying this is a political drama being played out by the wrestlers and their supporters. Where is this heading? Before we move on, let me quickly go across to Rakesh Tikait on what happened today. He's a farmers leader, a face who was well known or shot to across the entire country when the farmer protests were going on. Mr. Tikait is also an important part of this Khap Panchayat that took place in Muzaffarnagar. Mr. Tikait, I want to start by asking you, Tikait साहब, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए. आज खाप में क्या तय हुआ सर? आप लोगों की जो मीटिंग हुई थी उसमें तय क्या हुआ है?
उसमें सब लोगों ने अब अपनी बात रखी, स्टेज से सब लोग बोल रहे और तय यहाँ के सरकार से खाप प्रतिनिधित्व मंडल समाज के जो लोग हैं वो एक बार बात करना चाहते हैं. उसमें राष्ट्रपति जी हो या होम मिनिस्टर हो, किसी से भी बातचीत हो जाए, ये तय हुआ है. और क्योंकि कल एक मीटिंग है कुरुक्षेत्र में और वो मीटिंग पहले रखी गई थी, तो कल फिर वापस में जाएंगे और जो भी चर्चा होगी उसमें बैठ के बातचीत हो जाएगी. आंदोलन की भी बात थी, सब चीजों की बात अब अपने लोगों ने वहां पर करी है, लेकिन जो भी ऑथेंटिक बातचीत होगी, कोई घोषणा होगी किसी चीज की, तो वो कल होगी. और प्रायोरिटी पे ये है कि सरकार से बातचीत हो और इसको आगे बढ़ाया जाए, इसको बातचीत को.
पर टिकैत साहब, लोग कह रहे हैं कि अब ऐसा कैसे कि खाप आगे आगे और पहलवान पीछे, वो तो किसी से बात कर नहीं रहे, तो खाप कैसे आगे आके प्रतिनिधित्व कर रही है इन पहलवानों का?
वे कहाँ बैठे हैं वो बता दो, वे बोलते हैं कहाँ उन्हें वहां बैठने की परमिशन दे तो वे अपनी बात वहां से कहते रहेंगे. भाई वे कहाँ बैठ कर अपनी बात कहें? वे तो चले गए थे गंगा जी में परवाह कर दे, गंगा जी में परवाह हो जाते, अपना वे भी नहीं अपना घर पर काम करते, या ये जो मेडल है राष्ट्रपति जी के वहां या पीएम को जमा करवा दो, अपना खत्म होगी बात. इस देश में अपनी बात कहने का वो किस भाषा में किस तरीके से कहें, वो शांतिपूर्ण बैठ के अपनी बात कह सकते हैं, ये कानून में अधिकार दिया है. जंतर मंतर धरना स्थल है, वहां से अपनी बात कह दो, कहीं कहीं दिन तक वहां पर धरने भी चले हैं. अपनी बात कैसे कहें वे आदमी? वो बता दो आप हमको। हम तो जरा गांव के आदमी भाई, कौन सी भाषा में सरकार की मंची है उस भाषा का बता दो, तो उस भाषा का इस्तेमाल कर लेंगे।
पर टिकैत साहब, ब्रजभूषण शरण सिंह जिनके ऊपर ये आरोप लगे हैं वो तो कह रहे हैं कि देखिए मैंने कुछ गलत करा नहीं, कुछ गलत करा हो तो फांसी चढ़ा दीजिए, गिरफ्तारी उनकी अब तक हुई नहीं है।
सरकार बताएगी ना, ऑथेंटिक बयान सरकार ने नहीं दिया, इसलिए सरकार से बातचीत करना चाहते हैं। भाई एक बार सरकार से बातचीत करना चाहते हैं खाप पंचायत, बातचीत कर लेंगे, वे बता देंगे। अगर संतुष्ट जवाब नहीं मिलेगा, नहीं कुछ होगा, तो फिर अपना आंदोलन का जो भी रास्ता अख्तियार करना होगा फिर वो कर लेंगे।
लेकिन नरेश टिकैत साहब गए थे जब ये पहलवान वहां पर थे, गंगा में अपना जो मेडल्स हैं उनको बहाने वाले थे। अब आरोप ये लग रहा है, और जो लोग इस पूरे आंदोलन को, जो रेसलर्स के, जो पहलवानों के आंदोलन को एक पॉलिटिकल ड्रामा के तौर पर बता रहे हैं, वो कह रहे हैं कि देखिए ये सारा पहले से सांठगांठ थी। रेसलर्स ने पहले ही कह दिया था कि भाई नरेश टिकैत आके बचा लें और इस तरह का ड्रामा करा जाए, और फिर रुक गए वो लोग नरेश टिकैत साहब के जाते। तो क्या पहले से कुछ बातचीत हुई थी आप लोगों की?
हमारे दावे संपर्क में है ना, हमारे पास लोगों के नंबर है। नरेश टिकैत जी की कॉल डिटेल जरूर निकलवा लो, हमारी निकलवा लो। और हम इस तरह का खेल खेलते, हम तो जो कहते हैं वो साफ कहते हैं ना। हमारे पे इस तरह की राजनीति आती, हम जाएंगे तुम वहां ये करियो वो करियो। वे होकर गए थे, और उन्होंने भाई और लोगों को भी जाना चाहिए था ना, क्यों नहीं गए? उन्होंने जिस टाइम ट्वीट किया वो सुबह ही किया उन्होंने, तो और लोगों को भी जाना चाहिए था, रोकना चाहिए था। किसी का भी एक बयान किसी का भी आया, अगर भाई नहीं डालना चाहिए। हम उस टाइम पर लखीमपुर खीरी में थे, हमने वीडियो डाला और ट्वीट उनका उससे पहले आ रहा था। वे लोग रास्ते में थे, हमने अपने सब लोग यहां से लगाकर हरिद्वार तक लगाए, उनको फिर रोका। हरकी पैड़ी को उन्होंने कहा था कि वहां पर जाकर लोगों को रोका। नरेश टिकैत जी तो 4:30 बजे के 4:15 बजे के आसपास गांव से चले हैं। हमारे पे जालसाजी नहीं आती, इसलिए खली की राजनीति करते। हम तो ठोका करते हैं, जो भी करते हैं बिल्कुल कह के करते हैं। हमारे पे कोई दबाव है किसी का कि हम ये खलबाजी ये करें वो करें? हम नहीं करते। हम तो बिल्कुल जो भी करेंगे बिल्कुल कह के करेंगे। हम दिल्ली में ट्रैक्टर लेके गए तो कह के लेके गए, 4 लाख से ज्यादा। अगर जिम्मेदारी नहीं उनकी तो हमने ली कि हम लेके गए थे। हम जो भी करते हैं कह के करते हैं। ये खलबाजी और ये वो हमने सिंचाई नहीं ना हमारे ब्लड में। हमने ये कहा है कि सरकार ये जवाब दे कि इससे पहले किसी की गिरफ्तारी हुई या जांच पहले हुई, या आगे कानून बना दो जिससे जांच पहले हो गिरफ्तारी बाद में हो। इसमें क्या दिक्कत है बनाने? बना दो इसका कानून।
टिकैत साहब, मैं अंत में आपसे एक बात और पूछना चाहूंगा। 5 दिन के अल्टीमेटम की कुछ बात हुई थी, तो वो क्या अल्टीमेटम है? क्या 5 दिन बाद खिलाड़ी जाके अपना फिर से, अगर नहीं सरकार गिरफ्तार करेगी तो मेडल्स बहा देंगे क्या?
शब्दों का चयन है, ये अगर ठीक हो जाए तो बहुत सी भ्रांतियां बाहर आ जाएगी। न पहलवानों ने 5 दिन का समय सरकार को दिया, न खाप पंचायत ने, नरेश टिकैत जी ने दिया। नरेश टिकैत जी ने यह कहा कि हम बातचीत इसमें करेंगे, अपनी सलाह करेंगे, आप हमको 5 दिन का टाइम दो और आप घर चलो, ये मेडल आप हमको दे दो। उनको 5 दिन के लिए लेकर आए, तो उनको 5 दिन में जवाब देना है हमने ये करा है। न सरकार को अल्टीमेटम दिया, न पहलवानों ने सरकार को अल्टीमेटम दिया। नरेश टिकैत जी खाप पंचायत के लोगों ने उनको कहा कि 5 दिन में हम बैठ के इसमें बातचीत करेंगे, इसका रास्ता निकाल लेंगे, कुछ सरकार से बातचीत करेंगे, यह क्या होगा, 5 दिन का टाइम दो आप हमको, ये था बात।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया राकेश टिकैत साहब हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए, और आज किस तरीके की तैयारी खाप की हुई और क्या कुछ पहले से प्लानिंग थी खाप और रेसलर्स के बीच में, उसके बारे में हमारे बात करने के लिए। बट ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट राकेश टिकैत सेड, देयर इज नॉट अ 5-day ultimatum or a deadline that is given by the wrestler to the government. 5 days are for the strategy, the next phase of this entire protest. Now, the government, ladies and gentlemen, has been saying that they have done all that the wrestlers have asked for. Sports Minister Anurag Thakur said that we are handling this issue, the wrestlers' protest, very sensitively. He also said whatever the wrestlers have demanded, we have done all those things. He also said that necessary action be taken by Delhi police. To all those politicizing this issue, I would like to say that the law is equal for everyone and the players are important to us. That's something that the government's stand on this issue has been. The government says that we have done everything that we could. It is now being politicized. Meanwhile, accused of sexual harassment, Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, the former Wrestling Federation of India chief, he remains defiant. Listen in.
और मैंने एक बात ये भी कहा था, अगर एक भी आरोप मेरे ऊपर स्थापित हो जाएगा तो ब्रिजभूषण सिंह स्वयं फांसी पर लटक जाएंगे, किसी को कहना नहीं।
So let me now throw this open. Have the wrestlers been pushed to a corner, to a situation which is now unpalatable as far as the government is concerned? Because these scenes, ladies and gentlemen, are very, very worrying. Internationally, these are being looked at. The World Wrestling Association, they have come out and spoken against the government. They have said that the way the wrestlers have been dragged is something that they do not appreciate. So has the International Olympic Committee as well. Let me very quickly introduce my guest this evening. Could this entire matter be handled better? Could this have been handled better than what we are seeing playing out at this moment? Shagun Chaudhary is joining us, a woman who understands what it takes, in fact, to be perform and to be at the international level as far as the athletes are concerned. She's the first woman to represent at the Olympics in the shotgun, in fact, and she's also an Olympian, Asian Games medalist. Let me also introduce Raman Malik, spokesperson of BJP Haryana, who is joining us this evening. Jagmati Sangwan, Indian volleyball player who was part of the Indian team that won the bronze at the Asian Volleyball Championship. She's also a women's rights activist. I welcome all three of you on the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Shagun, I want to start by asking you, for a lot of people who don't understand the value of these medals, and especially in a country like India, where despite in the last few years, we have seen the focus of the government, which has gone up as far as the sports are concerned, but it still takes significant amount of self-sacrifice, a lot of hard work to not only come from the the villages and the small places that these wrestlers and especially women come from to reach the international level. For such people, for such champions to decide that they want to throw away their medals, it must be almost taking their heart out.
Absolutely. For an athlete and especially a sports person, it takes an entire lifetime to win that one particular medal. And I can only imagine the amount of frustration and agony that they must have been in order to take such a step. And it just goes to show that, I think we need to, the probe that's going on at the moment has taken way too long in order to reach its head. And that's what we need to look into, because it takes a lot of courage for women who have actually been sexually exploited to first of all come out and talk about their ordeal. And then at the same time, when they're not heard and they're dealt with like what we saw, what the Delhi police did, I mean, it was very disheartening. If I was if there's a new girl who'd want to take up a sport, and she would see those visuals and she would think twice before venturing into this career, because
yes.
So it's quite worrisome actually.
It was heartbreaking to see those scenes. We have celebrated these people when they won the medals for India. But Jagmati Sangwan, like Shagun was saying, the messaging in this entire matter, while the people close to the government might be saying that this is now all political. There are Khaps now joining in, Khaps which do not represent the best as far as the women rights are concerned. Many calling it hypocritical as well. Political parties also sharing the stage with the wrestlers. Wasn't it political right from the day Mr. Brij Bhushan Saran Singh, who is an MP of the Bharatiya Janata Party, when he was accused, when he was made, in fact, the president of the Wrestling Federation?
Yes, Ankit, I want to say on this occasion that what is going on here around in this country, it is all the mockery of law. This person who was heading the WFI, Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, there was no internal complaints committee working over there, and whatever the committee was there for papers, it was sexual, the name was Sexual Harassment Committee. After that, these athletes denying the support of political parties and social organizations, they were on, in January, they were on dharna. But there was given a committee, and the committee was not oversight committee, it was overhide committee. They were trying to hide the pain and the facts. They were trying to brought in front of the people of India, in front of the committee. And after that, the FIR also on the instructions of Supreme Court, and despite imposition of POCSO, no arrest till day. People are asking that they should provide some videos, some proofs, and why so late. Whereas the provision in the POCSO is that onus lies with the accused to prove himself innocent.
Absolutely. And, let me take that to Mr. Raman Malik. Mr. Raman Malik, the wrestlers flagged their complaint against Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh in January. It took the intervention of the Supreme Court for the Delhi police to file the FIR. Don't you think, sir, the government possibly could have acted in a much better manner earlier, so that a situation did not come to this kind of a roadblock completely that we are facing at this moment?
Ankit, we're meeting after a long time, and probably last time you were on a different channel. So I welcome you for your new innings here. But
thank you.
Let's kind of get an address to the main core issues. The main core issues with the timeline and the facts is, number one, that in January, when they raised this particular issue, Mr. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, who happened to be WFI president, not because he's a BJP MP, because he was a WFI president, happened to be a BJP MP. That is the correct position. He became a BJP MP later, and WFI, after WFI before becoming in 2014.
So he's been a multiple-time BJP MP. So he was. I mean, let's not get into that.
No. So there's a very specific thing. The government is supposed to uphold the law. We are not there to compromise with the law. We are not compromising with the law. Our job is to make sure that the law is upheld, a thorough, fulfilled, precise investigation happens. After the investigation, we hand over the entirety to the honorable judiciary of this the nation, and they decide. Now, please understand, the problem here is, Ankit, that they do not want the process of law to happen. They have questioned the 12-hour meeting with the sports minister. And in that 12-hour meeting, they came out and said they are okay with everything. Now, in the second phase of the commentary that they started doing, they said we only met for 12 minutes. Now, how are you going to justify this?
Sir, they waited. They were hoping that the government will take some concrete action. They waited. They had to go. They had to go and register FIR with the Delhi police. They gave a complaint to Delhi police. The Delhi police refused to register FIR for 7 days. It took the Supreme Court to come in.
Listen, the union sports minister and the entire media of the country reported from late night from the union minister's home that the meeting is going on. This is happening. That is happening. 12 hours it took. Various meetings, and then Vinesh comes out and says, "Oh, we only met for 12 minutes."
Shagun Chaudhary,
please understand.
Okay,
please understand.
Yes,
the facts have to be clear.
I'm coming to you.
This is the
Sir,
fact.
I'm coming to you. You made your point. Jagmati ji, I'm coming to you as well. But let me bring in Shagun. Shagun, is this just all about that? The processes are being followed. It's not that just the Wrestling Federation doesn't have, a sexual harassment committee. There are many sports bodies in this country who do not adhere to the most basic Supreme Court guidelines. But the fact remains, when you hear this kind of an argument that, we have done enough, we are doing everything, they are being impatient, don't you think that they have been pushed to a corner where the wrestlers have no choice but to sit in this manner on the streets of this country asking for justice? And shouldn't this be the first primary responsibility of the government to try and at least assuage their fears? Sit with some sympathy and speak to them again.
I absolutely agree. At the end of the day, it's taken them 6 months. And 6 months is a really, really long time. We started off in January and we're sitting in June now. So, I mean, if probes are going to take that long, first of all, I think what needs to be addressed and should be taken into consideration for other associations. Thankfully, I'm from the National Rifle Association of India, and we do have an internal complaints committee. It's very important to learn from what we are seeing right now of how to go forward in order to make it a safe environment for any athlete, be it male or female, because we understand the pressures it takes in order to perform at the highest level. And at the end of the day, if you're going through such mental harassment or sexual harassment, it's very difficult for the athlete to perform. By looking at what's going on, it's also, like I said earlier, a lot of people would question their foray into sports, looking at the way that the athletes have been handled. At the end of the day, when the flag goes up, then the entire country goes out and celebrates them. And here we're looking at them where they're being manhandled by the police. And, those visuals were quite agonizing. So I think, that the process has to be clean and quick.
Raman Malik, respond to what, another celebrated athlete is saying, Shagun Chaudhary was saying. It will dissuade other girls, parents of young girls, to put them in sports. Should the government have not been more sympathetic to their cause? Lend them a little more sympathy when they speak to them? The sports minister met them once, you are saying, for 12 hours. He could have met them again. Actually, he's the minister of sports. Why couldn't he once again sit with them, call them home?
See, Ankit, two things. I believe Mary Kom, P.T. Usha and Yogeshwar and Bhavita, they are all sports people. Are they not? Are they not people who have participated in Olympics? Are they not people who have participated in Asians or Commonwealth? They have said certain things which they have ridiculed, number one. Number two, if they are talking about that they have not been handled properly, they very well knew that Section 144 was in place in the area where they are intending to go. It is not mandatory for a sports person to challenge the basic premise of law that if a Section 144 is imposed somewhere, you will force your way in. That is not something which is a democratic process. A democratic process is you are free and it is your right to protest when and where it is permitted under the law that these are the places to protest. So now the point is, if you today go into the parliament without having security clearance, will you be permitted?
They are saying that they will not be allowed to go back and protest at Jantar Mantar. Isn't that a violation of their constitutional rights as well?
Well, that has to be read. Why has the Delhi police refused? There has to be a reason behind it, and that reason has to be, if it is wrong, it should be challenged. Ankit, one more thing I'm telling you. This POSCO thing that is being said again and again, please, Kapil Sibal and company are very good lawyers. If Delhi police is not adhering to the guidelines as stipulated under the law, they would have been the first jackals to go and
I don't buy that argument. I don't buy that argument because if something is not being done, if it is not being done, go to the court and prove it. That is not way democracies function, that we will stamp upon your right. If you have any problem, go to the courts and get it proven. Jagmati Sangwan, in conclusion, with the Khaps coming in and the wrestlers going completely silent, are you worried that this entire protest from the sports fraternity, from a point of view of the wrestlers, from athletes, is now going out of their hands? There are other parties, those who are playing their own little games as far as the wrestler protest is concerned.
No, Ankit, it was decided on the first day when Khap Panchayats hold their meeting on Jantar Mantar on 7th. of May, that the face and the decision makers of this agitation, this movement will be the wrestlers themselves. But at the same time, if they are not being heard, if the law is not being implemented, then all the Khaps, all the social and farmer organizations and political parties must come forward to support them and fix the accountability of the state and its different agencies.
Ma'am, I'm completely out of time on this. Thank you so much for all three of you for joining me on the broadcast and sharing your views on this. But ladies and gentlemen, in the end, in conclusion, sports, particularly wrestling, is not an easy area for Indian women to excel in. It has taken extraordinary courage for the wrestlers to speak out on sexual harassment. We are only hoping they are heard, understood. Our champions deserve to be celebrated, not to be dragged on the streets of this country. Thank you so much. Good night.